Israel's military presses deeper into Gaza. Netanyahu vows to retreat without a full victory, and Trump pitches a Gaza Riviera under U.S. control. But over 2,600 years ago, the prophet Zephaniah named Gaza's destruction in detail. So are we watching that ancient prophecy come alive in today's headlines? And how does this connect to Daniel's final 7 years in the Battle of Armageddon? Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. Don't forget, we need your help. Share this video. Be sure you're engaging in the chat. And also give us a heart or a thumbs up. It goes a long way in breaking through the algorithm to get to your friends and family. As you all know, you rarely get notified that we're going live, or you see that that's the case. That's a frustration for us too. So set your alarm maybe for tomorrow. I sometimes tell my phone, remind me at this time to do this, and it'll give me that reminder. So maybe you can bypass Facebook and YouTube and whatever platform you're on that's not notifying you that we're going live, and just tell your phone to do it. And we go live every day at 3, so maybe that'll be a good way for you to remember that the End Time Show is starting. Doug, I'm having a little bit of a sinus attack here, so I'm going to need your help probably.
I hope I can help.
Well, you're always able to help. It's always yesterday as the Kaylas were coming on the show.
Yeah.
I think I might have asked if they were nervous, or we were talking about what nerves or whatever, and they said, "Are you normally nervous?" I said, "Well, not when Doug Norvell's here." And so I'm feeling really good today.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all did a great job. That was a good show. I mean, I texted you and told you. I said, "I'm glad I'm not in the studio," because you'd have me crying, because that was very emotional. But great testimonies about what God's doing in both of those ladies' lives and how he brought them together. I mean, even though they knew each other, they weren't that close until tragedy struck, and two moms teaming together to pull each other through stuff like that. It's pretty amazing. So,
yep, it was a fun
great story.
Fun to do. Obviously,
did we sell any keychains?
I heard there were some keychains, not quite what I had hoped for.
Right.
We didn't come close to what I had hoped for, $50,000. But I'm still believing for it.
You never know.
And you never know what could come. And by the way, you can still go to endtime.com/K20 and donate there. Any amount would be certainly appreciated so much. And you can browse all the different keychains. I did get a keychain myself. And know a number of people that did. So great keychains, amazing quality, and it feels good to buy something that goes towards something so meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to check into that as well. So I got some grandkids that would probably love to have one of those keychains with the beads on them.
Yeah, well, that you
They're
can
all
custom
into
make
the beads
it
right now.
Yeah, you can custom make them with their name on it if you want.
There you go. Well, there may
maybe
be
get one with Endtime.
Maybe a couple with my name on it. Well, not my name literally, but with I may purchase a couple. So.
Also, another highlight that I've been talking about a lot lately that you all are really excited about too. I've been seeing the comments, emails, people calling in about it. And of course, some of you have been harassing Dave pretty heavily about this Understanding Daniel series that's in the works. If you haven't heard about it, we've been teaching here that you need to understand the book of Daniel. One reason is you can't fully grasp the book of Revelation until you understand the book of Daniel. And so that's why we're preparing to create this brand new series and book, Understanding Daniel. We're going to unpack Daniel's God-given visions and help equip believers for the days ahead. We haven't started the production yet, but with your help we can. Right now, every dollar that you give will be doubled up to $110,000. This is a miracle in and of itself. So if you've been feeling led to give $250, when you do that, it turns into $500, or $1,000 turns into $2,000. I had one person say that the Lord told him to give $50, and they were excited because that was going to get to turn into $100. And it's been amazing to see how you all are responding to the partners that have made this match campaign possible. And we are preparing to expand God's kingdom even more, and Understanding Daniel is one way that we're going to do that. So you can give today at endtime.com/2x. You'll see a list of our summer needs there, or you can call 800-363-8463. Again, endtime.com/2x. Doug, in the meantime, part of another thing that's on that list is going to be our Warn the Jews campaign. We've got a lot going on. It's called Warn the Jews, but what has happened organically as we have attempted to evangelize in Israel is it doesn't matter, who's out. Like, obviously we are reaching out to Jews, but then Arabs happen to show up, or Filipinos are showing up, and one thing leads to another, and there's just a wide variety of people. A lot like that, if you have a church in the States or whatever, a wide variety of people end up connecting. And so that's what's happened with Israel. And so we've got the Zoom call that Dave's doing every single week. He's doing that with the constituents from Israel and some surrounding countries, some church leaders from the surrounding countries. That's a part of our effort to equip these churches, the church leaders and the constituents, to be able to navigate the days ahead. And so he's doing that every week now. This is unprecedented, never happened before. Of course, we're connected with Joel Golden there, IDF commander. I don't know what his official title is, but essentially an IDF commander, similar to
He is a general.
He
is the general of the Jerusalem Brigade.
Okay, so that's his official title?
Yeah.
There you go. So
that's pretty big.
Connected to him. He's an end timer. He's a host on Only Source. You can watch his show at the Golden Report on Only Source. Yeah. That's part of what we're doing there. He's been born again now, a born again believer that's a general in the IDF, overseeing the Jerusalem Battalion. And
that's nothing but God right there.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then there's just so much more happening. So Warn the Jews is on that as well. And one thing that we're seeing in the news is this talk about Gaza.
Yeah.
And so we felt like we should talk about it today. And I don't know where to start, Doug.
Well, and we're going to have a clip from Joel from his most recent Golden Report where he's talking about this a little bit too. But I wanted to start with the prophecy that a lot of people believe is linked directly to what's going on right now. And I don't know that this is a prophecy about the situation in Gaza right now, but it very well could be. And so I thought we could read that out of Zephaniah chapter 2, because this is very interesting, and it does call out Gaza by name. And so I thought we'd share that first. We'll jump there, and then we'll talk about what's going on in Gaza and where we're headed with that situation.
Okay, before I do that, Doug, I got to do something out of the norm.
Okay. That's not unusual.
I guess that's normal. Well, I just happened to glance over and see that our good buddy Brad Oldman Jr. commented.
Nice.
And he said, "All I want for my birthday is a birthday shout out from Doug and Vince."
Well, there you go.
I didn't even know it was his birthday. What a shame.
I did. I said something to him on Facebook, but I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready. You going to sing or?
I'm not singing.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to say have the singing voice.
Happy birthday, Brad.
Yeah, happy birthday, Brad.
Or Bradley.
And my Jeep Gladiator buddy. He just got him.
Jeeps.
Yeah, he just got in the Jeep family. So
Well, I just got in the Ford Flex family. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
I don't
but
know if that's a thing.
There was a duck on my car the other day, but no, I didn't. But anyway, happy birthday, Brad, or Bradley, as some would call him. Anyway, Zephaniah. You want me to read Zephaniah too?
Yeah, let's do that.
For Gaza shall be forsaken. This is Zephaniah 2:4.
Yeah.
Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Woe unto the inhabitants of the seacoast, the nation of the Sherethites. The word of the Lord is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will even destroy thee, that there shall be no inhabitant.
So that prophecy fits what's going on right now. I mean, this is what Israel is saying. This is our plan. This is what we are getting ready to do. We're going to clean Gaza out. They've given the Palestinians that are living there the opportunity to flee before they go in and do total destruction there. But there's a lot happening there. So, yes, when I read that scripture, it makes a lot of sense. These other places that are there in Gaza, Ashkelon, Ekron, these places, when you would have that would alert us to the missile attacks and things, when they were launching from those areas, you would see these names come up. On those launches when Hamas was launching missiles daily at Israel. And so it's interesting because all this, and it says, woe to the inhabitants of the seacoast. And it lets you know that this is that area. It's being called out by name. So some believe that this prophecy is directly speaking to Gaza, not in some kind of symbolism or anything, but by name. It calls them out by name. And Zephaniah, being led by the Lord, he foresaw this time that we're living in right now. Now, like I said, that may be true because we're watching Gaza be left in ruins. I don't know if you can tell behind us is on the screen is actually some of the pictures from Gaza. And a lot of those buildings that you see in that shot are probably not standing anymore.
Right.
And it is in ruins. I know that at one time when Dave went over there a couple of months ago, he was supposed to go into Gaza. I don't know if he got an opportunity to do that because I think Joel was called away on some special duty and only was able to come in for a short time and hook up with Dave, but he was on duty at that time, so I don't know if he got to take Dave in there or not. But that was supposed to be a thing at one point. I know we definitely would have, and so I don't think unless Joel said, "Look, don't tell anybody you went to Gaza." So I don't know.
I feel like we would have known.
We probably would have, being the inner circle of fishermen that hang out with Dave. But anyway, so it's been devastated. This is something that has happened, and of course this causes international outrage by the world community. They also say that Israel is starving people to death, but there's been recent footage that Hamas is disguising themselves as aid workers and stealing the food and not allowing the Palestinian people who really need this. It's going to Hamas, and Hamas is taking the food away from those people and then claiming that Israel is directly trying to starve people. Well, we know from Joel that that's not the case because I think Joel's organization even helps with the food there and the distributing food to people. So anyway, those things are happening. International community has gone crazy about it. And so I wanted to look at a little bit, Vince, of the history of Gaza to remind people what happened just in 2005. I mean, looking at it now, that's 20 years ago. I can't believe 2005 was 20 years ago. But 20 years ago, if you remember, Israel pulled out of the West Bank. Pulling, when I say pulled, they drugged people out of their homes and made them leave Gaza with military force. The military at that point, Vince, those guys cried and said, look, we will never do this ever again. Shortly after this happened, Ariel Sharon, who was the prime minister at the time, after he did this and gave that land over, trying to get peace, he went into a coma, and he was in that coma for many years. I can't remember how many years. I think he just recently died, like in 2013 or 14 or something like that. And it might have even been later than that. But he was in a coma from that time after he did that until he died in a coma. So he never regained consciousness again. And so anyway, I just want to remind people of that whenever they dragged their own citizens out of there. The Palestinian Authority was supposed to take control, but that's when Hamas came in, and that's when Hamas really began to grow in that area, because they came in and virtually took over. And then because of that, we have what happened on October 7th of 2023. And so that brings us up to where we are now, and this whole reason why this attack was launched into Gaza.
Well, I graduated high school in 2005. So I remember a little bit about this, but I was a little zoned out as well.
I can remember your grandfather. I was a listener way back then, and I remember your grandfather talking about what a major move this was, and what happened, and how it was fulfilling prophecy by them giving this area to the Palestinians. It's been nothing but conflict ever since they did that, which is why Israel is now saying we can't have a two-state solution with Palestinians because of this terror organization that can take this over. So anyway, that's where we are right now. That's why Benjamin Netanyahu is very much against the two-state solution, but we are watching also the world say, nope, we've got to have this two-state solution or it's not going to work. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into the program, because there's some other things that we want to discuss about that.
Well, on top of that, Doug, it's just interesting. Again, I feel like I say this a lot, and I probably do, but this is developing while the red heifer stuff is developing, while the Temple Mount stuff is developing, while the peace talks are developing. It's like there's so much, and then even not entirely connected over there, but connected in some ways is the some would speculate that it's connected in some ways, is the federal takeover of D.C. and the different things happening here, and what former presidents may be indicted soon, and how all this is all connected. And then, of course, a new pope, and one that is much more energetic and has a lot of life and has much more potential to be influential for a while.
Right.
There's so many things that are just happening at the same time. People sometimes ask us, how do you have enough to talk about? And it's like, we can't, it's hard to even pick something because there's so much to talk about. But I don't know. It's
happening so fast. It was interesting the other day when we did the video and we read the statement that Byron Stinson put out about the ceremony of what he called a perfect red heifer with a perfect priest in a perfect location, saying that basically the ceremony has been completed and they have the ashes. One of the things he said is there was a major shift in the world that day. Well, that major shift, it didn't just happen that day. Yes, there was a shift for sure, especially if this is a legitimate ceremony of the red heifer, which they say it is. We're watching things happen so quickly, Vince, but things have been turning to this. I mean, like you said, all the timing of everything, it's like God is lining up the pieces and putting them in place, and we're moving full throttle into what could be the final 7 years with the talk of the temple, with major news articles coming out that there could be a temple started by 2025. There would have to be a peace treaty first, I believe. But, you know, there was one person who said that they believed that the ashes had already been used because that's why we had a record number of Jews up on the Temple Mount during Tisha B'Av. So I don't know if that's true or not, if they were actually used already. But what's happening is, and what I talked to JPC about this morning was that the Jewish people see this as a time to seize the moment. They see anti-Semitism stepping up. They see a president in the United States that has their back, and they're thinking there's no time like right now. If we don't move right now, we'll never have a temple. And so I think that's what we're seeing, and I think that's why they're saying, a majority of people are saying this red heifer was kosher, and this ceremony was a perfect ceremony. We shall soon see.
You mentioned JPC. Should we clear the rumors?
Oh, yeah. Some people were a little confused. So
I think you're moving to Israel.
Yeah.
You see my comment on it?
I did. I laughed. I thought that was funny. So, yeah, some people thought that when I said I was going live, they thought I said I was going to live in Jerusalem, and I was going live in Jerusalem in a few moments. Took a picture from the studio, and some people mistook that and thought that I'm moving. Some people thought I left Endtime. I'm like, no, it's part of Endtime. So I'm here. I'm not moving to Israel.
So I couldn't help myself, and I commented and said, I think I said something like, I'm so sad you're moving to Israel, but happy birthday, Doug, anyway.
Yeah.
I should have called you Dave, but
you should have. That would have made it perfect. Yeah.
Lots of things happening all at the same time, and this is why we encourage you so strongly to go enroll in the Jerusalem Prophecy College. Go get Only Source. You need to be preparing. No matter how long you've been walking with the Lord, now is the time for you to be more prepared than ever so we can navigate the days ahead. We believe that you, every one of you watching, listening right now, play an important part in these end times. You are going to help instruct many as we navigate these last days. I was just talking with someone this morning, and they were asking me why we aren't on the major anymore. And I said, well, if you tune into one, all you're going to get in regards to prophecy is preterism. If you tune into the other, all you're going to get in regards to prophecy is pre-trib, and they've eliminated the voices outside of those two categories, and so we don't fit in those two categories. And obviously I'm not here to argue about preterism or when the rapture happens, but nonetheless we kind of stick out in that regard. And so if you are here consuming this content regularly, studying the scriptures along with us, and studying the current events along with us, you're going to have a little bit of a different perspective than probably most people that you meet, especially most people that are mainstream Christian prophecy people. So you're going to help instruct many. So it's time to be ready. No matter what you need to do, you need to dig in and get ready. One thing we say around here a lot is because the end time is now, and that is why we do a lot of what we do. And another highlight, your marriage is worth fighting for. It's worth having a good marriage because the end time is now. It's worth making sure your finances are in order because the end time is now. And one thing in regards to marriage, you all have heard from Tom many times. You've heard their story. It's an amazing story. God has been so good to them. But when adultery strikes, that pain that you feel can be unbearable, and the road back feels impossible. And that's part of why we're helping with Hope Beyond Betrayal. It's a 2.5-day private marriage intensive. This is not your normal marriage conference. This is a marriage intensive for those that are navigating betrayal, couples that are facing deep brokenness, and it's led by Tom and Lana Lyman and Dr. Daniel Surstead. You'll find biblical wisdom, practical tools, and hope for healing. And I've seen God use them to help couples walk through the fire and come out stronger. Space is limited just to 10 couples for this event. You can go to endtime.com/HBB and use code endtime for $500 off through the end of this month. So go check it out right now, endtime.com/HBB. If you are in need for hope and healing in your marriage, this is the event. Doug, there's other military developments in Gaza that's happening as well.
Yeah.
And of course, being connected to Joel Golden helps us get a little bit of a different perspective than maybe we would be able to get elsewhere, because some of this stuff is not in the mainstream news.
Yeah.
So what do we need to know about that?
Well, one of the things that they begin to launch, it's Israel's leadership approved a plan they call the conquest of Gaza City, and the IDF Chief of Staff, General Eyal Zamir, he, after consulting with top officials in Shin Bet intelligence, he authorized the main framework for this operation. Fighting has already begun in the Zaytun neighborhood, and the plan involves mobilizing reserve troops, allowing them to time to rest, and preparing for a prolonged battle. Zamir has also confirmed that the operation could extend beyond Gaza City to the entire Gaza Strip. And all this is unfolding while Israel's engaged in multiple fronts. They're engaged with Lebanon, with Syria, Yemen, in the West Bank.
Spoken like a true carnivore.
I'm telling you. It's been a long day. Judea and Samaria, and all this while they're dealing with Iran. So they're fighting on several different fronts. Remember, this was called the Ring of Fire. That was the plan. They were going to put this ring of fire around Israel where they would just be engulfed in fighting. And so we do have a video. Do we have enough time to go to it right now?
I think.
Okay. So this is Joel Golden from the Golden Report, and this is what he had to say about this operation.
Israel has basically two choices in the near future. One, the first choice, we can just cut our losses and go into Gaza as a conquering force and just completely take over the entire Gaza Strip, taking out all of Hamas, leaving none of them left without being able to get our hostages back. Okay, well, when I say not being able to, I mean the chances we'll get them back alive is very, very slim in that first choice.
Yeah.
Or the second choice is to finish this war without taking out Hamas and hoping that maybe we will get the hostages back dead and alive. The second choice would be the worst of the two, of course, for the state of Israel and for everyone involved in this thing. While the first choice would give us the best chance to put a stop to the threat from Gaza for once and for all, the fact is that we haven't been in real war in Gaza for a long time. We just call it a war. It's more like the continuing threat and like a situation we have like in Judea and Samaria. We've just been calling it a war. People just, because it started as a war. It was a war, but it's just a continual taking out terrorists,
Operation after operation.
Just like in Judea and Samaria. No one's saying that, what I just said right now out loud. And probably some people, it'll strike them kind of odd to say we haven't been in a war in a while. But we have. Israel has not been in a war in a long time. We've just been doing operations. But just recently, when I say just recently, I mean like a few hours ago, Israel, the government made a new decision to go in and do the first choice. Sort of.
Always.
Yeah, sort of. They're starting with Gaza City, not the Gaza Strip, Gaza City. And they're going to take over as a conquering force there, take over the Gaza City and other strongholds along the Gaza Strip where they believe they are holding our hostages.
So it's interesting, but it's understandable when he says we haven't been in a war for a long time. These operations have been going on for a very, very long time. I mean, they've always fought against terrorism. Their entire existence has fought against this terrorism, and yet Joel says it's not really a war. It's interesting that he words it like that, him being a warrior and a general over the Jerusalem battalion.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, we look at it as they're at war. We look at it as October 20. What was it? October 13th or October 7th of 2023. We look at that as that started a war. What Joel's saying is this has been a constant battle just against terrorism. It's not really a war against the people. It's against groups. It's against terrorist groups, terrorist organizations. That's different than a war. So, I mean, we've done that ourselves. We've fought against terrorists.
Absolutely. Well, we've got more to talk about there, including some peace deals that are in the works. So you're not going to want to miss this important information on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Of the breaking news this hour, at least 22 people are reported to have died in a strike in Gaza.
The rise of Islam.
We're trying to bring answers for so many families desperately.
Is the Israel-Hamas-Iran conflict World War III? So let's talk about the four horsemen. What do these horses symbolize? These are the four spirits of the heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. In the end time, the true people of God will not be weak, anemic, and defeated. These prophesied events are revealing we are quickly approaching the time of the Great Tribulation right now.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com/green. Go to endtime.com/green or call 800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the End Time Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. I do want to make mention that Dave and Jana Robbins will be in a town near you August 24th. They will be in Burton, Michigan. Dave will be teaching at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So 2 events in one day. You'll want to make plans to be there if you're in the Burton, Michigan area. All the details for that event are available at endtime.com/events, or you can call us at 800-ENDTIME. We'll be happy to help you out over the phone for that. When you go to endtime.com/events, you'll see that I'm preaching this Wednesday here in the Dallas area, North Cities and Garland specifically. If you've ever been to a local event that we've had here, specifically when we're preaching, it was probably there. So we would love for you to come out and join us. It's not a prophecy conference, but I'll be preaching. Several End Time team members will be there. My family will be there. And then the following week, John Little of The Little Things will be preaching in the same church. So all that's available at endtime.com/events. We'd love to meet end timers. Last time we had a number of end timers come out when Dave was preaching there a few weeks ago, and baptized somebody, Doug. So that was a fun thing. Doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes it does, and always love it when it does. So excited about those events coming up soon, where you can come out and be with us for a service or a conference in the coming weeks. And then,
do you know what your topic's going to be?
I did until last night, and then it all kind of shifted. And I don't hate it when that happens, but I kind of do too, because I like to be prepared. And I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure the Lord will go before you. He always does. So
well,
it'll be good.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, I know he will. He'll be there.
Yeah,
100%. He's there already.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see.
Those are some of those little miracles you were talking about yesterday. Those small miracles that we don't realize are miracles, and
I don't know who all's going to be there. That's one thing I pray when I'm preparing to speak, and even when I'm not, I pray the same thing, that I pray that the Lord will open our ears to hear what He is saying, open our eyes to see what He is doing. And if I'm the one speaking, I want to be a conduit, if you will. I want to say what He wants me to say, and sometimes maybe that's hard to say. Sometimes it's a little easier to say, but either way,
I think you enjoy the hard stuff.
I love talking about anything. There's one of my openers that I love so much that my wife, if she's listening or watching, she already knows what I'm talking about. But there's a story I tell, and I open that story with, the other day I was in the bathtub with my mother-in-law, and I just kind of want to see if people are paying attention. Maybe right now, are they even listening? That may have got someone's attention. I'm not we weren't bathing, but we were doing construction work in our home several years ago now. And she was standing in the bathtub removing caulk, and I walked by and I went, I need to get in there with her so I can tell this story about being in the bathtub with my mother-in-law. So that's how that happened. But I like to say weird things sometimes.
Oh, I know.
And
Trust me.
Even other times, whatever. I want to have a good time, Doug. We talk about heavy things, so why not have a good time while we're doing it?
Well, that's the thing. We try to bring a little bit of lightness to the room when we're talking about heavy stuff.
Well, right now we're talking about the destruction of Gaza, and that's certainly not fun. There's people that say, oh, you're not very Christian. You're promoting this genocide and all of that. And so obviously it becomes a controversial conversation, because people are just they don't understand all the aspects of it. They've read one headline, they've seen one tweet or post on Facebook or wherever they're getting their information.
Yeah.
They haven't really gone in and understood what's going on.
Yeah.
And so we do try to tread lightly and lovingly and caring. We know that not everyone agrees with us, and that's fine. We're happy to talk about it, and that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
I don't know where we go to from here, Doug.
Well, we talked about how Zephaniah quite possibly forecast this, in the Old Testament, but then other people think that this could be related to the Psalm 83, what people call the Psalm 83 war. And so they believe what's happening, what we mentioned earlier about that ring of fire and these countries around Israel that are kind of closing in on them. They believe that could be connected to Psalm 83. So some believe that that's what's happening right now, the enemies that are seeking Israel's destruction. But here's the thing about that psalm. So I kind of want to clear this up. And like Vince said, you may or may not agree with us, and that's okay. But when we look at who wrote it, it's Asaph, who was King David's chief musician. And it really reads more like a prayer. Were they in prayer against a hostile coalition that was against them? Absolutely. But it doesn't really talk about war. It talks about them planning against Israel and how Israel is praying to God for protection over this. And so one of the things, when you look at it from a modern day context and you take that, this is how we know it's not the Psalm 83 situation, okay? Because that was probably pertaining to the time of David, since it was written to the Lord during that time, and it was written like a prayer. If you go and read it, you'll see that it's a prayer protection. And so when we're looking at Psalm 83, one of the things that it says, Vince, is it talks about, specifically names them, that this confederacy against Israel has Edom, Moab, and Ammon are listed as coming against Israel in this coalition of forces. Well, the reason why that's important is because all of those are the modern-day nation of Jordan. And Jordan's already had a peace agreement with Israel. It was signed back on October 26th, which is my little sister's birthday. October 26, 1994. She wasn't born in 1994, but that date is when they signed that agreement with Israel, October 26, 1994. And then more recently, if we remember, when Iran launched missiles at Israel the first time, when they fired like 300 missiles at that one time, Jordan helped shoot some of those missiles down that were headed to Israel, and also allowed recently in some of the missile attacks, rocket attacks, allowed Israel to fly into their airspace to destroy some of those incoming missiles. And not only Israel, but America was also allowed to fly into those airspaces, and Jordan assisted. And so you see in that psalm that it appears like Jordan would be against Israel. And that's why we think this was another time, because there's also a very interesting prophetic verse in Daniel. I'm going to ask you to read that from Daniel chapter 11 that gives us a hint that Jordan is not going to be part of that world government system either.
Can I ask you a Psalm 83 question first?
Sure.
I told you about this when it happened, but I was talking to a very well-known prophecy teacher a few months ago, and I think I remember him saying that the Psalm 83 war and the Battle of Armageddon are the same.
Yeah.
Is that a common theme? Is that true? And I think they throw World War III in there too. It's all the same event.
Yeah, that's what some people teach and believe. They believe that all that is tied to each other, and even tied to the destruction of Damascus. All that stuff is tied together. Now, I would agree with them that total destruction of Damascus is probably going to happen at the Battle of Armageddon. It could happen in the Sixth Trumpet War when that war starts. But the Psalm 83, like I said before, Psalm 83 is not, it doesn't talk about a war. It talks about them being surrounded by people that want to destroy them. Israel's always been surrounded by people that wanted to destroy them. It's not necessarily pointing to a specific war like the Battle of Armageddon, like Ezekiel 38 and 39. those things are talking about specific war. The sixth trumpet war, talking about a specific war. Psalm 83, it's not clear that it's even speaking of a war there. So that's the difference. But yes, a lot of people will try to relay that in with that. So it's not uncommon for that to be a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so you want me to read a passage from Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel 11 explaining about Edom, Moab, and Ammon.
All right. Which passage? 41?
Yeah, Daniel 11:41.
All right. It says, he shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon.
Yeah, and so right there we're told specifically. So this is one of those things we get questions about all the time. Everybody says, but wait, Revelation 13 says all. And all means all. That's what I hear all the time. It says all will worship the beast. All will wonder after the beast. And all means all. So how could anybody not? Well, we know for fact that Israel isn't part of that. They're not going to follow that. That's what the Battle of Armageddon is over. So they won't be under the control of the Antichrist. Well, Vince just read you the scripture from Daniel 11:41, which I just realized I didn't put the whole scripture in there, and you probably had to look that up. But when you're reading that, you see that it says specifically that they will not be under the control of the Antichrist. So Jordan, that's modern-day Jordan, Edom, Moab, Ammon, are not under the control of the Antichrist. So all doesn't mean all when it says that. It means all that follow after the beast, those will all take the mark. Those people will. Scripture tells us not everyone will take the mark of the beast, because it says those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life will not take the mark of the beast. So just because it says all in places, that doesn't necessarily mean that it means all. It means all who will follow, or all who are part of that world government system. That's why we understand the wings of the eagle in Revelation 12:14 is talking about the United States of America, because we're watching our president right now pull us out of that world government system. And so that's how we understand these things, is we look at all the scriptures pertaining to everything, and we see that that is definitely speaking of the Antichrist and his army, and that Jordan, modern day Jordan, will not be part of that.
Okay, but Netanyahu has one condition.
Yeah.
For all this.
Yeah.
It says one. It's hard to believe there's only one, but nonetheless,
Right.
there's one that's being highlighted.
Yeah.
What do we need to know about that?
So the condition is you either release all the hostages or there's no deal.
And he means all hostages when he says all.
Yeah, and recently, it could have been just yesterday. I can't remember, because, like I said, everything's happening so fast. But they showed a video of one of the hostages. You could tell he had been starved severely. He has not been well taken care of since he had been taken hostage on October 7th. And so that right there goes against the whole Geneva Agreement and all those things. They're breaking international law by starving these hostages. But they made this guy get on camera. Hamas made them get on camera and say that it was Israel's fault because Israel was not sending food into Gaza and helping take care of the Gazan people. But we also know that Hamas has been intercepting that. Like I said earlier, they've done videos where they're sitting there videotaping themselves eating the food that's been delivered through the UN and through relief efforts into those areas. They come and they take over it, and the people are not getting the food, but they're also starving the hostages. So that one deal condition says that all the hostages will be released. And you heard what Joel said, that they don't believe that's going to happen. I mean, they just don't think that. He said, we're going to get them back one way or another, either dead or alive, and we're at the point now to where we've got to do something, and the second option is not a good option. So we need to go with the first option, which is going in there and taking over Gaza, is what he's talking about. Because it's kind of like Trump said the other day when he was talking about the violence that was going on in D.C. He said these people only understand one language, and that's if they hit you, you hit back harder. And it's the same thing with terrorists. I mean, those protesters that are doing things in violent crime, they're no different.
Well, we need to talk about the Gaza Riviera after the break. It reminds me of the redneck Riviera in Alabama, but it's quite different. So we'll highlight that and the prophetic big picture on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Many people argue America is not mentioned in the prophecies of the Bible. But they will miss so much about the coming events that will happen in the end time if they don't get that understanding. What do these beasts symbolize? That's what we need to answer. Because if we can't understand what these beasts symbolize, there's no point in even studying this, right? If you don't believe that America is mentioned in the Bible, you're going to be stuck when it comes to figuring out all these prophecies. But once you understand this, America has a prophesied future. It's given to us in the Bible. And the America will not be part of the world government, but we're going to be protecting Israel against the world government all the way to the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com/America. Go to endtime.com/America or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us. Don't forget, share this video right now. It goes a long way in breaking through and helping get to your friends and family when you share it this far into the show. So if you haven't, or even if you have, go ahead and share it again. Share it in the groups that you're in. Just help get the message out however you can. Share the video, send the link in an email, text it to somebody. Help us by sharing this video or audio, however you're being part of the End Time Show today. And then, of course, commenting on the post, engaging in the chat helps a lot. And hearting and thumbs upping it. It really does a lot to spread the message even more. And we need all the help we can get in 2025. So help us out by doing that right now. Doug, what is this Gaza Riviera? Again, I think of the Redneck Riviera, which maybe some people have never heard of that. It's the Gulf Shores, and I think it's Alabama, and maybe it goes into other states. But either way, maybe that is what Trump has in mind, a Redneck Riviera type setup. It's beautiful there. Yeah. It's I've seen pictures and video. I've never been personally. I have friends that have gone. The Redneck Riviera, that is. It's a well, I guess, sought after vacation spot. And so when I hear Gaza Riviera, it just makes me think that that's what they're talking about. And of course, I've seen the mock-ups. I've seen the AI videos with golden trumps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, okay. So this is a statement that was made a few months ago when they first started talking about what was going to happen there in Gaza. And really, I believe that it was one of those things. You know, Trump says a lot of things, and sometimes it's just to get reaction from people, knee-jerk reactions from other people. And I think this might have been one of those times, Vince. But the interesting thing is one of the proposals on the table right now, and what Netanyahu told Fox News, is that we're not planning on going in and taking over Gaza and staying there. We're planning on going over there and liberating the Palestinian people and then leaving this in the hands of an Arab coalition. He didn't call it a coalition. I can't remember exactly what he called it. Let me see if I can pull that up. Arab forces. So he said that we're going to give it over to Arab forces, but not any force that would allow Hamas to come back. And he's talking about wanting to give the Gazans a good life. Well, Trump also has made that statement. But if you think back, this makes a lot of sense with the Gaza Riviera. I'm not so sure this was all tongue-in-cheek when he was saying this, because there was a plan, and it was a 5 to 10 year plan, Vince, and it was going to cost somewhere between $1 and $2 trillion. And he was going to pull in all these other Arab countries around there and give them parts of this. And remember, this was listed in that Peace for Prosperity. He offered this to the Palestinian people. The first time it was mentioned, if we go back and we pulled up the Peace for Prosperity paperwork, it talks about making the Gaza Strip a Riviera-type place where there would be casinos, there would be restaurants, there would be gorgeous hotels, and people would want to flock there for vacation, and it would all be beneficial to the Palestinian people if they would just kick Hamas out and make peace with Israel. It was all going to be peace for prosperity. So when he said this, it's almost like I think he was saying it to the people of Palestine, saying, look, this is what I offered you. and you guys didn't want that. Now we've got war. Now they're taking Gaza by force. Maybe we should just go in there and do my plan anyway and make it happen. And I'm not so sure it's still not in the works.
I want to double down on clarifying one thing you just said.
Okay.
You emphasize that they want to get Hamas out of there.
Yeah.
And make Gaza a beautiful place.
Yeah.
You're not saying kick out every person that's not a Jew.
No. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Trump is not even, and even Netanyahu is not saying we want to kick the Palestinians out. Now, in that article that Trump talked about, the Riviera, this was after Gaza had gotten destroyed, and he talked about how much money it was going to cost to fix everything back up. And he was saying that the people, the Palestinians that don't want to live there, they could go to Egypt or they could go to Jordan or somewhere like that and live peacefully if that's what they wanted to do. But no, they're talking about making this an area that would be a resort style of life, and people could live there and prosper, and that could be anybody, not necessarily Jew, not necessarily Palestinian, but anybody in that region could come there and they could live peacefully in this region, and it would be like a tourist area. And so that's what Trump wants to do with it. Now, that's not what that prophecy says. It doesn't say anything about Trump or a Riviera there. It says it was going to be laid desolate. Well, that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing that place laid desolate. I don't know that we have scripture that says it's going to be built up as a resort town, but we do see scripture where it says Israel will blossom like a rose in the desert, and maybe that would be part of that Gaza Strip. I don't know, but look at the city of David. You know, when you go into the city of David and you got all the blooms and the beautiful flowers, and it is a piece of the desert that's turned into like a rose, like Scripture says.
I just think if there's going to be a peace deal, places like Gaza, anywhere that's rough, I mean, I know you're not going to clear up everything. Right. I would just think that the high-profile places like Gaza, there's going to be peace. That's going to be part of the peace deal. Excuse me, it's going to be part of the peace deal.
Yeah, I agree.
We know that this peace deal, while it may seem ridiculous to talk about the potential of a peaceful Gaza, we know this is a temporary agreement. Right. They're going to go into it saying this is temporary. We're going to make some this reminds me, actually, as we're talking, reminds me of what we highlighted last week when we mentioned Byron Stinson's post about the red heifers and how he doesn't believe that we'll ever have every single rabbi agree that this was the red heifer ceremony. He's proclaiming it was a perfect ceremony with a perfect priest. He's proclaiming this. And that many are accepting it, but there's some that will refute it forever. Well, similarly, when there's peace, there's going to be some people who don't agree with it and fighting against it, and we'll see the details as it unfold. One thing we'll know for sure: there's going to be a temple that's being built. There's the Jewish practices are going to resume, which will include animal sacrifices. And we're going to be saying, hey, that was the peace deal. Maybe we'll be a couple years in and we still won't know who that Antichrist is, but come 3.5 years in, when that Antichrist stands in the temple and says, you don't have to do this anymore, I'm the Messiah, then we'll be able to know. And so I don't know what all the details with Gaza are going to end up looking like, but I would think there will be temporary deals where we say, we meaning I guess the people that are actually involved in it, they say, we'll make some exceptions. We don't necessarily like it, but we're going to make some exceptions to just get us past where we're at now. I agree with you completely. And the whole thing about that area, I mean, Vince, when you look at it, you could envision what Trump's goal was for that, because when flying into Tel Aviv, you fly right over the Mediterranean Sea and how beautiful and blue that sea is and how gorgeous that is. Well, Gaza's a seaport, and they're talking about building that up so cruise ships land there, putting a train from Gaza all the way over into the Middle East, into Jordan, and you know where that train goes through, right? You remember?
Yeah.
Right by the Jerusalem Prophecy College.
Yeah, right by Jerusalem Prophecy College, right up to the Temple Mount, right up to the Golan Heights. I mean, they call it the Trump train. That's what they call it, because it was his vision.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this thing is going to stretch maybe all the way over to Saudi Arabia if they sign up on this deal. And so you would be able to come on a cruise ship and land in Gaza, go all throughout the Holy Land, over into Jordan, and just keep going on a train to where you could spend several days on a vacation.
Kind of like how Europe is.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when you think about...
I don't want to be on a train in the Middle East. I don't care where it is.
I know, it's kind of scary to think about that.
I just think that would not be a good idea ever.
Yeah. Well, just imagine, because you've been on the buses, and you see the sheep herders and everything on the side of the road just walking like a herd of sheep down the highway. And just think being on a train and flying by that stuff, and you got camels and sheep herders and
I guess
everything
that's a
out
good point.
there.
It's similar to the bus. It's
Yeah.
way more efficient.
Faster,
and they really protect tourism there. So it would probably be much safer than what I'm thinking of those old Western movies, but on a train, but in the Middle East.
Yeah, you're not going to have guys riding up on camels to rob the train. I don't think you'll be all right there. You won't have outlaws, but you would still have a cautious spirit about you, because you're in the middle of an area where people don't want the Israeli people to exist there, and they don't want Americans there either. It might still be a concern when you travel just because of terrorism, but the whole thing is this was to bring peace into the region, to bring stability into the region, to bring riches into the region, to bring technology into the region. And all those resources that Israel has, that God's blessed them with, Israel can take seawater and turn it into drinking water. And so they could share those technologies with other countries around them. And that's what the Abraham Accord is about. If you sign on with Israel, you get the benefits of what Israel has. Israel gets the benefits of what you have. Trade, industrial markets, technology markets, all those things are going to be boosted, and it's a win-win situation, and it would look attractive to people to sign on to that peace agreement, and that could be the way we move into the future, and that could be what's getting ready to happen with Gaza. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but this Riviera idea is not a bad idea, and it was in the original plan, and so I don't think that it's going to go away, and I think that could be what we see.
Doug, we're running out of time here, but we started with Zephaniah's prophecy about Gaza, Gaza's history, the military developments happening in Gaza, what Joel Golden reported on the Golden Report on Only Source. You can go to watch.osn.tv and watch it there. But then Netanyahu's one condition to all this, the Gaza Riviera. So what's the prophetic big picture with all this that we've talked about today?
Yeah, so, I mean, it all comes down to what we talk about all the time. There's going to be that peace agreement, like you said a while ago. We know that's coming. There's going to be that Antichrist stand up in the middle of that and proclaim to be God. That's going to start the worst time of tyranny ever. So even if there is a peace agreement that they say could last 7 to 10 years, which we've heard that thrown around, it's only going to last for 3.5 according to Scripture. But we know Israel's going to get that temple. We know there's going to be that sharing arrangement on the Temple Mount. We know it's going to appear to be peaceful, but we also know that that's going to be a key to us to begin to evangelize. And that's one of the things that is so urgent right now. People need to be gearing up for that. Don't let these things frighten you and make you think that this is all gloom and doom. We're going to be doing things. Jesus said that's what we're going to be doing at that time, is we are going to be preaching and teaching the kingdom of God. So if we do those things, we're going to be doing exactly what we're supposed to do.
Well, we better get on it.
Yeah,
if
no
you're
doubt.
not ready, you need to get ready right now.
Yeah.
One way we're helping people get ready is through, of course, Jerusalem Prophecy College, like we mentioned earlier, and Only Source. Only Source was created because we think it's important to have a legit Christian, a legit conservative voice out there. And, of course, God has been leading us to do this for decades. 2008 was the first conversation I recall. But I found some notes of Irvin's the other day, Doug, from like the 90s, and he writing down some tasks that he had. And back then he said to create a large radio network where we control the programming 24/7. And I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable. So this is something that God put in our hearts long ago, and we've launched it with Only Source, and part of that was made available because of you, your giving, your prayers. So we're so grateful for that. Of course, Only Source expanding that, reaching more people is one of our summer needs at endtime.com/2x. Every donation that you give is going to be doubled up to $110,000. So please consider that. Pray about what you should give. It's going to be doubled. Unless you give more than $110,000, then it will be out of the double mark. But nonetheless, all that's available at endtime.com/2x. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for Open Line. God bless.